New at 5 tonight, a story that you are seeing first on News 4. For the first time, we are getting an inside look at what happened the day the Trump administration took over the U.S. Institute of Peace.
News 4 obtained more than 4 hours of police body camera video from that day that shows D.C. police officers communicating with DOJ to evict the Institute staff and also the tense standoff between the two sides.
News 4's Mark Segraves watched the video in its entirety, and he spoke to one of the key figures in the video who tells News 4 that he feels betrayed by D.C. police.
This was the scene inside the U.S. Institute of Peace that day as the Trump administration ousted the leadership and staff.
You've got guns, I don't.
It's been almost a year since the standoff that drew international attention. It was the first months of the DOJ takeover of federal agencies. The Trump administration targeted the U.S. Institute of Peace. After one failed attempt to take over the building, DOJ employees and Trump's pick to run the institute, Kenneth Jackson, showed up at the institute again on Monday, March 17th. The doors were locked and only a few staff members, including the president of the institute, Ambassador George Moose, and the institute's lawyers, including George Foote, were holed up in the building. Foote recalls that day vividly.
Well, that was terrifying. I mean, I've practiced law for a long time, and I've never seen that sort of confrontation with police keeping me from going into a client's property or some other property. It was really disorienting. It was very concerning.
While D.C. police acknowledged at the time they were asked by the U.S. attorney to assist in the takeover, just released police body-worn camera video shows exactly how it went down. The staff at the Institute say they feel they were betrayed by D.C. police.
Oh, enormous betrayal. Yeah, betrayal is a pretty good word for the whole thing.
The video shows D.C. Police Commander Jason Bagshaw meeting with Kenneth Jackson and another Trump administration official coordinating the takeover.
Here's the message on behalf of President Trump terminating the former board members.
So the goal right now is to get access into the building.
Yes, sir.
And then basically, all right, everyone's got to go for right here, go.
That's it, especially this lawyer that's representing them. I'm going to cancel their contract. I'm going to fire him. And we're going to take control of the agency. I'm not ready for this either.
Jackson explains why they need MPD to help with the eviction and not federal police.
Private building, and that's why we need MPD.
Got it.
If it were GSA, it would be very simple.
We've been doing this with other buildings, with GSA buildings, much easier.
As soon as that door opens, I want to be able to stick my foot in it. And once my foot's in it, then it changes it. It's changing the way we do it. If that stays locked like in a barricade situation, God forbid.
Bagshaw then makes contact with the Institute's head of security, Colin O'Brien, who is part of the staff inside the building. Bagshaw still not revealing why he's there. O'Brien allows Bagshaw into the building, thinking D.C. police were there because they had called for help.
I'd love to be able to have an officer come down. We'd like to actually file a report so that this is properly documented if that is in the cards.
Once inside, Bagshaw and O'Brien continue talking for several minutes. Bagshaw still not revealing he's there on behalf of the Trump administration. Then Bagshaw walks to the door, allowing more MPD officers to enter. O'Brien is heard telling them only to allow police inside.
Is it just Metro? Yeah. I will ask that we only let DC Metro in.
Then, moments later, D.C. police open the door for Jackson and several DOJ employees to enter. As this is playing out in the basement, George Foote and another attorney for the Institute are upstairs with the Institute's president. Within minutes, Foote comes downstairs to confront police and the DOJ employees.
How did this come to be? How did we happen to have people in the building?
He's the president of the Institute, so he has the right to be in the
Well,
building.
that's yet to be determined.
You don't recognize that he's the president?
Absolutely not.
After several minutes of back and forth between the two sides, Foote directly asks Bagshaw if D.C. police are there to assist DOJ, and Bagshaw says no.
Gentlemen, you're here escorting these folks into the building?
No, we got called in reference to what was going on.
Moments after that, as Foote tries to return to his office, police make it clear they're only allowing DOJ back upstairs.
And that's 4 of you are not coming back in today. Okay? That's where we are.
At that point, D.C. police escort the USIP staff out of the building. But the standoff is not over. Ambassador Moose and another staff member remained locked inside the president's fifth-floor offices, refusing to leave. MPD officers spend the next hour attempting to force entry to the upper floors, at times using knives to pry open stairwell doors. Once Bagshaw and other officers reach the president's offices, Bagshaw comes face to face with Ambassador Moose, separated only by a locked glass door. After a few minutes, Moose peacefully emerges from his office and confronts Bagshaw as he leaves.
You know we're going to see you all in court.
Yeah, yeah, we figured that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So we thought you guys were our friends. I mean, we've had a relationship.
We are your friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will take that, and hope to see that demonstrated down the line.
For Foote, the entire incident is symbolic of what the country, and specifically Washington, D.C., would see play out over the next year under the Trump administration.
Looking back on it, how that was just a model for the things that have happened since then, of the Minneapolis situation, the federalization of the D.C. Police Department by the feds. So it was a precursor in many ways.
The body-worn camera video was only released by MPD after independent journalist Marissa Kabas, who writes the Handbasket blog, filed a Freedom of Information Act request and sued the police department with the help of the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press.
On a very basic level, you see how DOJ in the early days of the second Trump administration acted with absolute impunity. They entered buildings and acted like they owned them. And I think that the video really confirms the initial reaction of many of us watching and journalists who saw what was happening and said, this isn't normal. This isn't like anything we've seen before.
As for Foote and the staff fired by the Trump administration, they're hoping to one day soon retake control of the Institute. In the district, Mark Segraves, News 4.
Now, Foote and Ambassador Moose won their lawsuit for control of the Institute of Peace in the U.S. District Court. The Trump administration has appealed the ruling.